Concerned mother insists daughter cannot have her car back after driving drunk, but dad disagrees, leaving a family dispute about trust. 2 days ago, my 20-year-old daughter drove drunk to get herself some food. I was working in the backyard and thought she was inside watching golf with her dad. When I realized she had driven after drinking that afternoon, I immediately got in my car, picked her up, and drove her home. She is supposed to be returning to college any day now to start an internship there, and I am adamant that she cannot have the car anymore until she earns my trust back. She can fly back to college and once there take Lyft, Ubers, public transportation, whatever, just not her car, which is actually not her car as it was purchased for her by her dad. Problem is that her dad disagrees with me and wants her to have the car back. This is the same guy who called her while she was out driving drunk and all he did was tell her to get home safely. He'd been drinking that afternoon and was also in no condition to drive. She says she doesn't really remember what she said in the car after I picked her up, further indication as to her level of intoxication. Ada for fighting her dad to not let her take her car back to college after this? Go to AA, therapy, group meetings, get an accountability partner, a breathalyzer and an ignition interlock. I hope she does all those things. I just wanted her to do them without her car. BC I don't trust her. Commenter, NTA, your husband is enabling some horrible decisions here. Oop, 100% agree. Commenter, really your husband thinks it's okay to give your daughter her car back after showing she will drive drunk to get food, let alone parties every weekend at school? I would also make her take one of the courses the courts make drunk drivers take. Husband is a jack off and my guess at that age was driving drunk. Oop replied, agreed. And he still does at age 58. In fact, he's golfing tonight with his golf buddies and, more often than not, he drives home drunk. No wonder where my daughter gets it. For this and many other reasons, I'm done with this marriage. Update 2 to clarify, it's not her car. She does not own the car. It was purchased using mine and her dad's finances. Her dad's name is on the title. Why doesn't Reddit allow title editing? Also, this is part 2. Behind my back, her dad, STBX, found her keys, helped her pack the car and tried to get her on the road before I got home from work. My Ring doorbell kept alerting me so I eventually saw what was going on. I rushed home from work, blocked her car with my SUV, and called the cops. Before they could get there, he jumps into my car, fights me to turn off my car and was able to prevent me from blocking her. My arm got scraped in the process of him fighting to turn off my car. Ultimately he overpowered me and she was able to drive off. The cops were too late and off she went, 6 hours away to college, with her car. I wasn't really injured so I declined to press charges against him but I demanded that he leave, and told him that our marriage is over. He's now staying elsewhere for an indefinite period of time. She's planning to go to AA, therapy, group meetings, get an accountability partner, a breathalyzer and an ignition interlock. I hope she does all those things. I just wanted her to do them without her car. BC I don't trust her. Sadly, her dad and I are not on the same page. I feel incredibly betrayed by him for doing all this behind my back, for not communicating with me about his intentions to give her the car back, and for letting her have the car back despite all the evidence showing that she can't be trusted with it. He says I'm overreacting, that they have a plan and that he trusts her. I don't. I think he's a coward and I pray that his cowardice and stupidity doesn't get her or anyone else killed. Also wondering how to go about trying to stop someone from driving drunk when you're not physically with a potential drunk driver. Do the police actually do anything about it if you call them? Commenter, did you tell the police your concerns about her drink driving? Oop replied, yes. Commenter, if they documented it properly that may help with any liability you have. Commenter, I'm sorry. She's not likely to go to AA, therapy, group meetings, nor to get an accountability partner, a breathalyzer, or an ignition interlock. That's quite a list of promises she made. Since her father enabled her by giving her the car, there is nothing you can do to keep her safe. I urge you to contact www.alanon.org for yourself. They provide help and support to the loved ones of problem drinkers and you can find many people who have been in your situation. Another commenter replied, also interlock devices are expensive and have a monthly fee. No way she's going to be the college girl with a blow and go willingly. Commenter, NTA. File separation now so that you can show you are not responsible for her having a car. It may keep you from being part of the lawsuit when she kills someone. Another commenter replied, and ask for that car in the divorce or, if it's the third car owned, you each have your own, demand it be sold with the explanation of why to the judge/court. Make sure to take in the incident report from the police for the proceedings, too. Get it legally documented. If there's a health and wellness office at the college, notify them. Cover your bases to try and keep her from making this bad decision. Edited to ask, who gave her alcohol while under your roof? That will need to be clearly laid out in the incident report and your divorce proceedings. Take her off your vehicle insurance and force her to get her own? In this economy, you don't need that type of insurance rate, it can follow you to your own insurance if you don't remove her before an incident happens. To clarify, it's not her car. She does not own the car. It was purchased using mine and her dad's finances. Her dad's name is on the title. It's a marital asset. This is part 3. To summarize, last Sunday, my daughter drove drunk. Yes, drunk. Hammered. She's on our home security footage slurring her words, telling her dad she shouldn't go get him another beer BC she's an alcoholic, she's bumping into things, being obnoxious with her brother and eventually goes out the front door, getting into the car she drives, and driving off to get food for herself. I was working in the backyard and thought she was watching golf with her dad. When I learned what she'd done and where she was, I picked her up and brought her home. Fast forward to Thursday. Her dad and I were supposed to come up with a plan about letting her have the car back when she went back to college. I was adamant that she shouldn't. He seemed uncertain. She was desperate to have it and, while I was at work, her dad gave in to her. They hurried to pack her stuff and sneak her off to college, but when I became aware of what was going on, I left work and got home ASAP to try to stop her. Despite my, not so stellar, attempts to prevent her from driving off, she did. I was furious with my now STBX and told him to leave. He's been out of the house since. Again, more details are in my previous posts, but that's where things stand today. I guess I just want to give more details as to why I reacted the way I did and why I told my STBX to leave that day. 5 months ago my daughter rolled her car and ended up stuck in some trees next to a creek. Supposedly she hadn't been drinking that morning, but had been the night before. While still trapped in the car, she crawled to the back seat to throw her bottle of, not quite empty, booze out the window. Obviously she could have been killed but, thank God, only got a few scratches. Her car was totaled. I felt we should wait for a bit before getting her another one to let the gravity of the situation sink in, but her dad disregarded my wishes, gave in to her, and less than 2 weeks later she had another car. I still don't know what the right thing was to do, but I know his complete disregard for what I want in terms of children's well-being is absolutely intolerable to me anymore. We're not dealing with playdates or homework or curfew anymore. These are life or death situations now, and we should do everything we can to try to be on the same page. Not going behind each other's backs to get our own way. This time, though, I thought my STBX was leaning towards not letting her have the car to take back to college. He said we would discuss it further and try to agree on a plan. That never happened. Instead, they went behind my back, quickly packed the car, and off she went. Maybe I am maybe I handled it all wrong. All I can say is that I love my daughter and am terrified of losing her, one way or another, to alcohol. I can't stop her from drinking, but I was hoping to at least stop her from driving when she does drink, and since we're 6 hours away from each other, keeping the car seems the only surefire way to do that. Also, she admitted to me this wasn't the first time she's driven drunk. PHX to my STBX, it probably won't be the last. My marriage has been dying for years. I'm not divorcing him over this knee incident. This was just the last straw. No relationship can survive chronic lying, zero respect, zero intimacy, zero connection, and chronic loneliness. I probably stayed longer than I should have. Commenter, NTA. You are dealing with two alcoholics. You've done the right things. They have to want to get sober, you can't make them, but you can avoid enabling them. Consider joining Alone and On. I wish you the best, commenter. Well, now that I'm hearing part 3, I really feel compelled to share the abbreviated story of what happened to my mom's boyfriend. He purchased, insured, and registered a vehicle for his 20-year-old daughter. One night, she was driving home from work tired and got into an accident. She paralyzed the man she hit. Because the vehicle was in her father's name, he's the one who got sued. He lost, and him and his insurance are on the hook for millions of dollars to provide lifelong care for the man his daughter almost killed. The only person who walked away from the whole thing with only a traffic ticket or two was his daughter, the one who caused it all. I'm sure if she'd been drunk and not tired, that would have been different, but her father still would have been on the hook financially. Get your name fully disconnected from that car or repossess it immediately. Oop replied, Thank you for sharing this. I'm going to send it to my daughter and STBX. Commenter, NTA. You need to call your insurance company and see if you can get a separate policy for just you. Leave your STBX and daughter on the current policy. Until the divorce is final, maybe an umbrella policy is a good idea too. You don't want to lose everything if either one gets in an accident and kills someone. Commenter, sorry you're going through all this. Your daughter will not get the ignition interlock. They are very expensive, and I doubt she will do the AA. Your husband is a complete off for the way he sweeps her drinking problem under the rug. Another commenter replied, I suspect he excuses he drunk driving because he doesn't want to have an honest conversation with himself about his own drinking problem. Much easier to stick his head in the sand and insist everything is fine. Commenter, NTA. When you talk to your divorce lawyer, ask about how you can best distance yourself from any liability with your daughter and husband if they cause another accident or kill someone while drinking and driving. It may be you will have to remove yourself from their insurance policy like others have said. If you do that, let the insurance company know exactly why and give them any dates after that accident your daughter was in where you know she was drinking. If you can, get that doorbell cam footage saved as well. And from her driving off and your husband helping her. Finally, some really comprehensive advice from this commenter. NTA. You've done the best you can. Now it's time to protect yourself. Your daughter is an adult. You cannot fix her. She's going to have to do that herself. I'm very sorry. Get a good lawyer and start the divorce. It's absolutely imperative that you get your husband and daughter on a separate auto insurance policy for that vehicle. Have your lawyer send your STBX and your daughter a cease and desist letter, formally and in writing, rescinding your permission for her to drive the vehicle at any time. You also need to get a serious umbrella policy. Serious. As long as your daughter is driving a vehicle you own, she is endangering your entire financial well-being. As part of the divorce, you should either force the sale of the car, force her to buy it, or force your husband to buy out your share from you. Trust me, you don't want to own a vehicle that she is using to drive drunk. Separate your finances and insurance right away. Change all your passwords. I'm so sorry, Op. This is a tragic situation, but you need to move forward with protecting yourself and our assets. If she drives drunk and kills or maims someone in a car you own, it could ruin you. Best of luck to you, Op.